This is the most excited I've ever been for a John Cena vs Randy Orton match. The truth is in complete denial that Cena has actually turned heel. This could go down as a career highlight for all four men. It was truly an absolute banger. I'm worried for Santos Escobar's future in WWE. It has taken her from a B+ player to the player in the SmackDown Women's division. Welcome to Allison Analysis. I'm your host Ben Allison, and in this video I'm going to be breaking down my 5 key findings from last night's episode of Friday Night SmackDown, and at the end of the video breaking down 5 thoughts that you guys have sent in as well. Let's get into it. In at number 5, the US title 4-way at Backlash is going to be an absolute treat. Jacob Fatu, Drew McIntyre, LA Knight, Damian Priest, 4 guys who are going to be having an absolute banger at Backlash, and we are going to be in for an absolute chaotic, beautiful banger of a bout. These are 4 guys who I often think excel better in multi-man chaotic matches compared to one-on-one normal singles matches, so I do think this is on paper a recipe for success for Backlash. And not only that, but if it's as good as I believe it could be, this could go down as a career highlight for all 4 men. Now the question is, because it's a multi-man match, could this potentially mean that they are trying to take the US title off Jacob Fatu this early into his reign? Because of course you can protect him, you can have somebody else take the pin and have Solo Sikoa screw him in the match. It would protect him, it would get the title onto somebody else, and it could still tell the story between Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa. And while I can't really see Jacob Fatu having a massively long reign, if it does end at Backlash, in my opinion that is ending it far too early. In my opinion, it should go on to around SummerSlam, and at that point you can have Solo Sikoa turn on him and screw him. It would still protect him, whoever beats him, it wouldn't be clean. I've thrown Carmelo Hayes' name into the hat. That's somebody who I do think could well be a contender to do so. But I just think this would be way too early to do it at Backlash. But the multi-man element to this does just create a little bit of doubt in our minds that he will retain, and therefore it is a lot more unpredictable, and I am hyped. In at number 4, something about Alistair Black just hits harder in the WWE. Maybe it's his presentation, but his presentation in AEW was also really good, so I don't think it's that. So my feeling right now is it actually comes down to his in-ring style. The majority of wrestlers in WWE work a really similar style or a variation of that similar style, and the reason for that is of course a lot of them have come through the Performance Center and they've all been taught the exact same thing. But Alistair Black's in-ring style is so different to the rest of the roster, yet it complements it so well, and the match with Miz last night was an absolute perfect example of that. But if you compare this to AEW is basically a mixing pot of wrestling styles, and that is what's so great about the promotion. It makes it so beautiful from an in-ring perspective, but it also meant that Alistair Black's in-ring style didn't really stand out as much in comparison to how it stands out in WWE. And also, Alistair Black's in-ring style didn't really gel as well with some of those in-ring styles, meaning we didn't really get some of the match quality which we expected at times. But like I said, his match last night against The Miz, it was truly an absolute banger. I loved it, and people were complaining about The Miz being his first opponent. Well, last night both of them proved why it was a great idea. In at number 3, Naomi's new promo style and attitude is genuinely brilliant. Gimmick changes are dead regular and often in professional wrestling, but unique ones are a real rarity. The only recent one which really comes to my mind is Timeless Toni Storm, and of course that's been absolutely fantastic in All Elite Wrestling. But what Naomi is doing right now, I am loving it and I am buying into it. Naomi's new promo style and how she's acting, it is such a drastic change to her last character, but she's executing it so well, and it has taken her from a B+ player to the player in the SmackDown Women's division. I previously predicted that Bianca Belair would turn heel and join Naomi on SmackDown before winning the WWE Women's Championship. But at this point, I'm kind of starting to change my mind. I think that Naomi should be the one to win that Women's Championship. She is performing so well lately that I do think that would be justified. But as for next week, of course, Jade Cargill versus Nia Jax. To me, it's clear Nia Jax is winning. Naomi's going to end up costing Jade Cargill or something like that. We will get Nia Jax versus Tiffany Stratton one last time at Backlash, and I'm okay with that. But before we go any further, if you guys could please hit the like, subscribe, and comment button, that would be so very much appreciated. Here at Wrestling Republic, we create between 5 to 10 free videos every single week. And in addition to that, we have a live daily stream every single day, 7 days a week at 8 PM UK, 3 PM Eastern, and 12 PM Pacific over in the United States of America. Let's get back to the key findings. In at number 2, I'm worried for Santos Escobar's future in WWE. Legado undoubtedly needed a change. It's been stale for quite some time now, and Los Garza seemingly turning babyface and joining Andrade. And while I'm not entirely sure that is the correct answer for them, at least it is something new and fresh, and I do think a babyface run could work well, even if the pairing with Andrade I'm not sure about. But what's next for Santos Escobar? I truthfully don't have any good answer for that. I really don't. He's got bucket loads of talent, that is undeniable, but the fact is the main roster audience haven't really been given a reason to care to buy into his character, because other than the Rey Mysterio turn that he did, there's not really been many stories with him, especially ones which are compelling. And then of course the loss to Rey Fenix. Now I get it, Rey Fenix is super over right now, and just one loss to him won't hurt you. But it's the way that they kind of treated Santos Escobar in it, and then they brushed him to the side in the segment afterwards. I am worried. And in at number 1, surprisingly, this is the most excited I've ever been for a John Cena versus Randy Orton match. Maybe it's because it's the last time we will see them wrestle after not seeing them wrestle for such a long time. Maybe it's because the roles are reversed this time, with Cena being the heel and Orton being the face. But all I know is I'm really excited. I said this a few weeks ago, but when I was younger, it felt like they were wrestling every single week, and to be honest, they pretty much were, and I was dead sick of it. But now time has gone on, it does feel very nostalgic to me. It almost gives me a sense of comfort when I'm watching these two feud, and again, I am so pumped for this. It's also really difficult to build a program when one person in it is a part-timer. We saw this a lot during Roman Reigns' undisputed reign, but last night Randy Orton I thought did a really great one-man promo. And the fact that he is now willing to listen to those voices in his head, but control them and bring out the punt kick when he wants to, I mean, that makes him arguably more dangerous than ever before. So who knows, maybe they could do a shock title change. I'm not predicting it, and my money would still be on John Cena, but I am so excited. And again, like I said last week, I am not expecting some 5-star classic between these two. It won't be that. But what I do think it will be is a fun 15 to 20 minutes of action. Now let's move into your thoughts that you guys have sent in to me from last night's SmackDown. Let's start off with Shardy, who has sent in an opinion saying Jade every week is showing us why she's ready for the main event scene and the title. Jade Cargill undoubtedly looks like a star. She's looked like a star since she arrived on the main roster, what was it now, 12 months ago? Even a bit further back than that, last year's Royal Rumble of course. But she looks the part, and in ring, I've always said it, I think she gets way too much hate. I think people overanalyze her matches in comparison to the rest of the division. It's really bizarre. But I do agree she is women's championship material. But like I said earlier on in the video, I think Naomi deserves that title right now because her new gimmick is just something else. The Real Som 2 is saying Tiffany needs to go one-on-one with Nia at Backlash so that chapter can finally be closed, and the cash-in, because the cash-in was in January and this is in May. Fair point, you know. I didn't think they did that story anywhere near justice when they did the cash-in January, but I am excited for this match at Backlash if they do it. I think it will be a good opportunity to close the book on this feud and to give them the blow-off match which they actually do deserve. But to your point, it's months and months later now, and it has just kind of been a little bit, I think because of WrestleMania, a mess of a story. By the way, let's continue to put some respect on Nia Jax's name though, right? Because her championship reign, I really did enjoy. But her promo style specifically, she has improved so much with it over the past 18 months or so. Ace 2.0 has sent in an opinion saying, I'm really starting to get invested in R-Truth. he still admires John Cena even though he's heel. Maybe heel R-Truth. I mean, Truth is in complete denial that Cena has actually turned heel. He is trying to justify his actions, and it is really funny, but also really entertaining. And of course, we've yet to see them interact since the heel turn, but I'd really like to see it. Now, personally, what I do is to actually get some real major heel heat on John Cena and just have Cena just completely brutalize him. Like R-Truth to come out saying he understands why Cena's doing all this and he justifies everything, and then Cena just takes him out. Maybe from a character perspective, that wouldn't make too much sense, but hey, just like him getting on Cena's nerves or something like that, I do think would be quite funny, and again, get the crowds to make sure they are booing Cena, which is a little bit of a concern still. Up next, we have an opinion from Jose99, who says the Fatal 4-Way for the US title could possibly steal the entire show at Backlash, and honestly, I don't even have any doubts about that. The Backlash card, like I've been saying, looks really fun on paper, but I don't think it's going to be full of 5-star classics. So this definitely does have the potential to be the best in-ring match of the show, no doubt about it in my mind. And last but certainly not least, we have one from CM Galanzowski WR, who says glad to see a result at WrestleMania being intertwined into so many things. Phoenix losing at WrestleMania is vital to Phoenix, Santos, Penta, Gable, Andrade, etc. And you are bang on there, and it should do as well, because essentially, El Grande Americano winning was an insult to Lucha Libre. So Rey Fenix should undoubtedly be embarrassed about it all, and the stories that they are telling with Santos being frustrated about it, I did think that was good. And also, again, like we talked about on Monday's show, of course, the link between Penta now and El Grande Americano, I should say Chad Gable, when they're talking about this backstage, I do think is going to eventually lead to a Lucha Bros reunion after the draft, whenever that does happen. But that's all for today's episode of Allison Analysis. I hope you guys did enjoy it, and if you did, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe on this video. It really does help us out. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Have a fantastic weekend. Peace.